How many of you saw the person right or left of you doing it differently from you? Like you were folding like this and the other person was like this, or like there are some things that comes naturally to a person. What happens in a society or in a group is that we generally try to merge with the groups or try to copy people, and that's the biggest challenge of the education and employment system in India today actually. That everyone's trying to communicate the same brand. So it's like, I don't have my own personality or brand, I will do what 100 other people are also doing because that's the most popular thing to do without realizing that something else comes naturally to me. Like I stand like this, but if I want to copy my right and my left, then I will just twist my hands and be uncomfortable, but that's okay. Because that's what is accepted and that's what is known, so why be myself? So the first message I want to start with is to be yourself, to create your own brand, because if you try to copy people, you're not going to be your best version. You'll be the second best version because someone else is doing it naturally. Are you with me? Yes. Do you see that in your day-to-day life? Yes. Including yourself, including me, everyone does it. We try to copy a few things. It's okay, but it's better to have your own personality and your own brand. And this communicates through every single communication you do, 1-to-1, 1-to-10, 1-to-500, take your pen and paper out and take notes, because this is something which is a 1-week course which we are trying to compress. It's a very large subject. There is a room for you to ask questions at the end. So if you have questions during the next 90 minutes, you can write it, keep it for later, or if it's a very, very urgent, we call it a burning question, then you can ask, raise your hand and ask straight away if you're not able to understand anything. So we'll cover personal brand management. What is a brand? What is a personal brand? And why is it different from a brand like Apple or Microsoft or IBM? Why is your brand different from that brand? Then we'll cover CV to interview. So how can you create a CV that gets you an interview? Because a lot of people just create CVs, they never get any interviews. They struggle. And then we'll talk about how can you rock in your interview. So once your CV has got you the interview, how do you crack it? So I come from an experience of doing more than 2,000 interviews in the last 10 years, ranging from 18-year-olds to 65-year-olds to first employees to chairman and CEOs of companies, because I was a finance recruiter in my last job before I became an entrepreneur. I was recruiting for Microsoft, Philips, Nestle, and I was working with a CFO to set up the CFO's team in a company, or if I was recruiting for a CFO, then the CEO. So that's how my life was. And in those jobs, I interviewed so much that I figured some trends. Really happy, come back home and celebrate. Okay, second round done, third round also okay. Most people falter in the fourth round or the third round, because they don't have that extra X factor, what we call, to crack, because eventually a recruiter's biggest challenge today is how can I choose one out of the last two people? And I was a consultant, I was a recruitment consultant, so I was the person telling this HR manager, look, this person has this and this person has this. That's the advantage, that's the disadvantage. But go into the mind of the recruiter to understand how will you get recruited, because it's a very difficult choice even for the recruiter to choose one out of two. So the question today is, can you be that one person who survives rounds of interviews? Because there is no point going for first round and then getting disqualified in the second or third. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to talk more about that because I've seen, I do it every second day. And this has been a biggest challenge for people, that they don't crack it till the end. They might just get the job in the first interview or the second, but it's a long struggle. So because if you rather send your CV to someone who has heard about you or known about you, the chances automatically go double. More than 50% of the corporate employees are hired through reference. Do you know that? Employee reference as a concept. Employee referral is the #1 way to get hired in the best companies of the world. So networking for a job, and how do you do it? Then I'll keep giving you some 1-minute challenges that you can quickly do and apply those things. And then an opportunity to play of how do you practice these things that we're talking about. So I'll just start with showing you a story of a person. And I learned a lot from that story, so I expect you to do the same. Some marks written on those sheets, but they're not able to find jobs that they want. Huge problem. It's already in millions, like it's already in lakhs. if not crores. But people are not talking about it because what young people do, and I had the same choice when I finished my college, was either you say that you will keep searching another 3 months, 6 months and find the job that you really want to do, or you will say, you know what, let's just take whatever I get. Have you considered that idea? Yes. Yes, sir. Why be unemployed for 2 months, 3 months also? Let's just take whatever I get, right? And that's obviously the more logical way to go about it. But understand from the other side what is happening is employers are saying, and it's a very funny paradox. The employers say that they don't have enough people and enough employable people, and youth is complaining or has a challenge that they don't find the job that they want. So it's a strange phenomenon. So there are a lot of young people with a lot of degrees and wonderful CVs, but they don't find the job they want, and whereas the employers are saying that we don't find good enough people to hire. So it's a huge issue. I mean, the government of India has now made a skill development and entrepreneurship ministry. I don't know if you know. Yes. There is a ministry for it for the first time ever. And even at the global level, I've been to 25 countries. I have never heard of this ministry in the government. It does not exist. So India at least has started moving in that direction, but of course the ministry can't do everything. So what we talk about today is what can we do about it? What can the youth do about it? Because your employability is your problem. It's not the government's problem. And you're already fortunate that you're sitting there in this room in this MBA institution. Most people don't get a chance to be here, right? You had to compete to be here. A lot of people wanted to be here and they're not here. Yes, and of course the grass is greener on the other side, and someone who did go to IT feels or want to go to IT, someone who went to IM feels I could have been an entrepreneur, someone who is here. That's always the case. People on the other side always think the other side is better. Like the thing on the other side is greener than my side for some reason. So that's the problem we are tackling right now, and the job to be more employable is our own, and it's not the government's problem and it's not the institution's problem. Of course, institutions try to do as much, but if you don't become employable yourself, nothing is going to happen, no one can help. So let's talk about what is a personal brand footprint. We have moved into a world where sending a CV is not enough because it's a very old school idea. So gone are the days you will sit, you will open your email, compose a nice mail, say please find attach my CV, and I've applied for this job in your company, blah blah blah. Those are not the people who actually get recruited most of the cases. I'm talking about good big companies or great startups or great large MNCs. Today we talk about human footprint and digital footprint, which means if you are sending your CV, it can't be just a Word document or a PDF document. It has to be combined with an online profile. How many have online profiles on LinkedIn? 5, 10, 15. How many of those of you have updated it recently? You haven't updated? So that's a good start. The rest of you must exactly do this. This is where it's good to copy.
I have another question. How many of you have Facebook profile?
How many have Facebook profile?
Okay. Are you careful what kind of stuff you are putting there? From parties?
Late night.
Yes, because HR also check your Facebook.
Yeah, and both of us have been in HR, so.
I did check.
Yeah, even I checked it. So, and Facebook is open, right? How much ever privacy settings you can do, there are ways to tackle it, and employers know how to do it. So if all of you have a Facebook profile and only 25% have LinkedIn, it's already not a very nice situation, because no matter where you apply, people are going to Google you now. People don't just open your mail and just start assessing you based on your CV. People like me who have done thousands of interviews, we Google your name first of all and we see what results do I get in my Google search of top 10. So does it have your Facebook, does it have your LinkedIn, does it have your SlideShare, does it have a blog that you like, something else. So that's the digital footprint. So it's more important to manage your brand from both the sides. Which means have an MBA degree, have good scores, but that's only half the job done. Because people are going to Google your name now. Like when I went for my own interviews first, I used to Google the name of the person who was interviewing me, if I knew the name of the person. And that's a very smart way to go for interviews. You can take that tip. Always Google the name of the person you're going to interview with. At least try to find out who will be interviewing you. At least you know the company, at least you know how their career section looks like. I've interviewed lots of people who are 40, 45-year-old, getting 50 lakhs per annum, and they have no clue of the company they are applying for. This basically tells you that in today's world, it's not enough to make a good CV. It's not even enough to get good marks. You need to have a very, very nicely updated LinkedIn profile. You need to have proper settings on your Facebook account. Doesn't mean that you hide everything. It just means that you keep some control over it. Because there's a reason today's teenager generation across the world is moving out of Facebook. People born in the 90s or mid 90s. Why? Because they are on Snapchat. Have you heard of Snapchat?
Yes, sir.
Why do you think that's happening? Because mothers, fathers, teachers, professors, brothers, every single person in this whole world is on Facebook. And the people born in the mid 90s are thinking, shit. Now everyone knows everything. Everyone knows everything. That's the world we live in. So when you apply for jobs, people are going to Google your name. And if they see something ridiculous or something, I mean, of course, all of us do embarrassing things and have those kind of pictures on Facebook or other places. My friend would have tagged me in something that I would not have tagged myself. So check your privacy settings on your social media, because your brand is you. People who are going to hire you, they don't know you, right? In most cases, you're a stranger. Their only way to know you is to understand what you're doing online. And then there is a second school of thought which says the world will tell you who you are until you tell the world. Which means you will be labeled MBA Finance, MBA Marketing, MBA HR, 2 years work ex, 3 years work ex, all of that. Till you start telling the world that I'm much more than that. I'm much more than my degree, I'm much more than my qualification, my marks and the subjects I study. So that's the first thing to understand about personal brand, that you are more than your CV, you're more than your degree. Because only when you will understand it, you will start communicating that brand to the outside world. Are you still with me? So please raise your hand if you have any questions or doubts. Because I get in flow and I keep going. So I will show you what branding today is and how it works and how it's connected to personal brand. That Apple's value is more than $100 billion. How many of you think it's 400? 400. How many think it's 400? How many think it's more than 400? 4 people. How many of you think it's more than 500? There are still people. So it is between 500 to 600 billion dollars, out of which the brand value itself, which is just the cost of the brand, is $1.5 billion. More than $1 billion of this whole valuation is just the brand itself, because rest of it is stock market prices. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So people are trading stocks, but the brand itself is into billions of dollars. So interactions plus feeling is equal to branding. How does Apple make you feel? How many of you saw the keynote speech that day? When they launched iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, when they launched Apple TV and upgraded it. They have historic. If you want to learn branding, and especially personal branding, here the CEO, the senior vice president of Apple talk about in their keynote speeches. That's the best example of public communication and personal branding. They don't only brand themselves, but they also brand Apple in the process of doing so. And they communicate it so much that people around the world want to pay 1 lakh rupees for a product, an iPhone, or the actual cost is 30,000-40,000 rupees. Everyone knows that. And now I heard that in India is getting marketed before the launch at about 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees. Now imagine, people are willing to pay that kind of price for a brand. Coming back to the personal brand conversation, the same rule applies. Why will someone give you a higher salary compared to an equally qualified person is determined by how you position your brand to the employer. I used to help people a lot in negotiating their salary also. So what used to happen after 4 rounds of Nestle interviews, the candidate that I had shortlisted has gone and come back and said, Kamal, they are offering me 45 lakhs per annum, but I'm not happy. I want 55. So imagine in that situation, if you're a candidate and you're going for a job, you want, let's say, 1 lakh per month job, so the employer says, no. The economy is down, the company is downsizing, we'll give you 75,000 per month. We can't give you 1 lakh. So you need to know how that negotiation works, which means you need to know how you will brand yourself that the recruiter feels, oh, you know what, I should definitely hire him because he seems like better than the other one. who I could hire at 75,000. So maybe you will settle out for 90,000 or 1 lakh or something like that. But that will happen only if you were able to communicate your brand in a better way than the person who was also shortlisted besides you. So how do we do that? So it's a collection of perceptions. So everything you did from the time of sending that CV till that last round of the interview is very, very important. And we cover what we do in interviews afterwards. So this is the latest data that I pulled out from the internet about the biggest brand valuations as of today in 2015. The most expensive brand today is Facebook. And it's not the biggest company in the world. Apple is the biggest company in the world. Then there is Google and then there is Facebook. But in terms of just the brand value, it's Facebook. So all of you have Facebook accounts, right? All of us together have created this brand value for Facebook. Right? If people like you and me were not using Facebook every single day, I use it for everything, for personal and professional and business reasons. All the marketing happens from it, everything happens to it, right? That has got Facebook as the #1 brand rate company in the world. Then there is Apple, there is Google, there is MTV, Amazon, Samsung. These are the people. So think about your personal brand, and if a recruiter was to see it and make a list out of it, would that recruiter put your name in the top 10? Would the recruiter say, I reviewed 50 candidates for this job, and this is the top guy. This is the top person that after 3 rounds of interview, I should definitely recruit. So let's play a game. In the next 1 minute, write what your personal brand is today, which means define yourself. This question is asked in interviews in different formats. The most simple format is called tell me something about yourself. So you have only 1 minute, 60 seconds, answer the question, tell me something about yourself. Your time starts now. Thirty seconds. Anyone done? It's a short answer question. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I will snatch your pens. It's not an examination. I don't know if that still happens. It used to happen to me in school because I used to write really long answers because I knew so much. I was a nerd. I was like a geek in school. I was coming first for 6-7 years. And my teachers had to really come and stop writing. You know the whole book, but this answer is only for 4 lines, and I was writing 8 lines.